Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone my top 5 fashion BJDs. Now if you've got any interest in dolls, you've probably heard the term BJD thrown around a lot, and you might be really familiar with them, or you might be wondering what all of the fuss is about with a BJD. Well, behind me you can see my array of fashion BJDs, and to summarize very simply, a BJD is any doll with jointing where we've got a rounded joint that sits into another and it's strung with elastic. But generally speaking, when we hear the word BJD, we understand a little bit more than that. She's going to be a resin doll cast. They're usually artist made or semi artist made, and they're usually hand painted, often with handmade and designed clothing as well. So we're really looking at an art creation, an artist doll, and because of that, BJDs, they are very expensive. A traditional BJD very often is purchased with none of the clothing, no hair, no eyes, and quite often blank as well, no painting, and they can still cost you upwards. In fact, they usually do still cost you upwards of $300 just for a blank doll. Fashion BJD is a little bit different. Fashion BJD is styled like a regular fashion doll, so you can see that the proportions of these dolls are similar to a larger scale Barbie, or of course a Tonna or Jean 16-inch dolls like you've probably seen in many of my other videos. So they're scaled like that. They often don't have glass eyes, and again, a traditional BJD, usually you can customize everything. So you customize the wig, the clothes, the eyes, and the makeup as well. Whereas a fashion BJD usually comes with all of that stuff done. She is scaled, she wears, high-heeled shoes, and yeah, everything is done. You can still customize them, so they come with wigs, and of course you can redo the makeup, and I do have some here who have custom makeup and some who don't. So there are lots of fantastic fashion BJDs, but they do cost a lot. So it's great to know who the best ones are before you really, put down that money and pick one. I've had quite a lot through my time. So as well as the ones you can see up behind me here, I've also had dolls from Demuse, I've had Money Queen, I've had DAE ball jointed dolls, I've had R&D Angels, and I've had the early Cyberites who were resin BJDs as well, whereas the newer ones, although some of them are resin, they're not quite made in the same way. Also got all these ones behind you, and I know about lots more. So what are the best fashion BJDs out there? Well, this lady here, she represents my first runner-up. This is a Numina doll. They're designed by Paul Pham. They are an Asian BJD. They have really beautifully sculpted hands and very, very unique faces. You can see that this one has, very shaped cheekbones. She has fantastic makeup. Her outfit is not the original one. This is a Ficon doll outfit, I believe, and the wig is from an Etsy seller. But she is a really beautiful doll. The reason I don't have her in my top 5 is because I think that it takes a little bit of getting used to the faces. They are so unique. Some people absolutely love them and want every single one, whereas some people, you kind of have to learn to love them. And I guess when we're talking about something that's going to cost you upwards of $500, you don't really want to have to learn to love them. I think this doll is really beautiful in her unique style, but she isn't my favorite out there. I do think that there are a lot of fantastic things about the Numina dolls. My second runner-up is the Diva doll, who I believe is from Thailand. This doll, she does have an original Diva wig. She's got her original makeup. I love the uniqueness of these dolls' features. They have a really distinctive style that, you will always know is a Diva. They can also, although they're a bit hard to find, the earlier ones, you can pick them up for reasonable prices on eBay. But they are, again, all of these dolls are, fairly expensive dolls. like Umina dolls, you may not love the style, or you may just find that it is perfect for you. And I guess with all of these BJDs, it's all about finding the one that is you with these dolls. These ones I do love, and actually she has a really nostalgic place for me because she was the very first fashion BJD that I owned. Not this one, a different diva many, many years ago. I purchased her direct from the company. You know, she was a really special doll to me. And so I really remember the divas with love from that. But what is, I guess, you're going to need to get used to them a little bit, like the Numina dolls. You've got to find whether it is your style, but also they're a little bit challenging to pose, especially the early ones. So if you're getting an older diva, just know that they can be a little bit harder to pose. And if you're getting a more recent diva, they are still being made, but you have to, you know, order them direct from the creators. They have Facebook site. They are quite expensive because they are really artist dolls. So they make them in very small batches. They make them only on request. You get to ask for, you know, what makeup style you want, which is brilliant. You know, you can choose and really customize them to you, but it does make them expensive. My third runner-up is the only doll I'm going to be talking about who I don't have, and that is the Aquatalis doll. I especially love the newer version, whose body is a little bit, she's a bit shorter, whereas the original Aquatalis doll was quite a tall, you know, elongated, very fashion focused model. And I just found, although she's a beautiful doll, I found her a little bit, you know, willowy, a little bit unrealistic in her proportions, whereas she, just everything about her proportions is really beautiful. The reason I only put her as a runner-up is the same reason why I don't have one of them here. They're extremely hard to get and extremely expensive. So yes, they are incredibly beautiful dolls, but you have to be quite lucky to get hold of one. And when, you know, if you are lucky, it is still a lot of money to be shelling out. So very beautiful dolls. If you can get one, brilliant, but you may not. So on to my top 5, and number 5 of that list is Ficon doll. If you've been following my videos, you probably saw me open up this doll. This is Clara by Ficon doll, and she's one I had wanted for quite a while. I just love how her outfit and her wig work together. There are quite a few Ficon releases, and unlike some of the others, they are still being released, which is a great thing about them because they're relatively easy to get if you know when they're coming out. They are also stocked by the US doll dealer Doll Peddler, so if you miss out on a release direct from Ficon, you can often go and grab one from Doll Peddler, and they are, you know, like all the others, these are not cheap dolls, but you know, if they are the doll for you, then that's absolutely fine because they are so beautiful. I really love this one's outfit. She also has really beautiful shoes that go with it, and you know, she just, everything works together. The reason Ficon is only number 5 is because I find her form to be a little bit slim. Slim to the point of, I guess, is, you know, they're all fashion models. They're not meant to be, you know, voluptuous, realistic body shapes. But I just find her, you know, just erring on the side of less realistic in terms of that form. And I guess the faces just feel to me a little bit less expressive than some of the others, especially the early Ficons, who you can pick up quite a bit more cheaply if you are just looking to, you know, just get into fashion BJDs. Some of these you can pick up quite cheaply if, you know, if you're on the lookout, but they are a bit less expressive, a bit less, I guess, beautiful than one like this, who you would need to be paying, you know, full price for. So beautiful doll. And she is number 5 on my top 5. Number 4, I think this is going to be a slightly controversial choice because she's a bit one of the less well-known fashion BJDs. And that is the Dolmore fashion BJD. Now, Dolmore is probably, of all the dolls here, they're best known for their more traditional BJDs, whereas all the other companies here, they really focus on these fashion dolls. Dolmore produce lots of different BJDs, and as part of that, they've got these fashion BJDs. They're also the only dolls here who have glass eyes, so who do follow that, that more traditional BJD styling. That said, their form, their figure, you can see this one is wearing Tonner clothing and shoes because she does fit those perfectly. One of the reasons these are in my top 5 is because they're actually one of the more affordable dolls. Even these ones who are covered in these hand-painted tattoos are actually not that expensive in terms of, you know, the price of a BJD. And generally speaking, they pose really well. They have very solid joints and really quite very good to have on display. The fact that you can change their eyes, I don't know whether that's a positive or a negative. I actually personally love the painted eyes, and I guess that's part of why I collect fashion dolls more than I collect BJDs. But if you've never had a doll where you can change the eyes, I guess that is something that is, you know, it is quite cool. For these ones, I also love the tattoos. I have, you know, several tattoos myself, so I love seeing that in dolls and putting it into them. And despite the fact that I guess this company is a little bit, I guess, a bigger company than the others, they are less, you know, I guess less unique in terms of what is produced. I think they still are really beautiful. I have heard complaints that the knees only single jointed. That doesn't really bother me, but just note that if you're used to a doll who has double jointing all around, so that is, as you can see, this extra piece that makes up the elbow and has a joint on each side, that's what you call double jointing, whereas the knee only has a single one. So it's just something to be aware of if you are thinking about trying a Dolmore fashion BJD. So she's number 4 on my top 5 fashion BJDs. My number 5, I'm up to number 3. My number 3 is this one over here. Now you would have already possibly seen my video about opening my other Modsdoll doll. Well, this is my absolute favorite Modsdoll creation. She's Sienna, and she has the newest Modsdoll body, which actually has extra jointing. She has a second joint in the bust here, whereas pretty much all of the others, they just have a single joint under the bust, whereas she has 2, so she can do some really, you know, excellent and very realistic poses. Absolutely love her outfit as well. This unique take on a Western outfit. She even has these beautiful Western boots to go with it. Her wig is fabulous. It gives her this sort of beehive appearance. And I guess her face is another one where it may or may not be the face that you love, but Modsdoll are really known for these, you know, incredibly detailed and really unique face stylings. Also love her makeup. So this doll, look, she would be my absolute favorite doll up here out of everyone, except that her posing, she has this incredibly detailed body, but she's actually really hard to pose. And I do wonder if the designer Yan Li, because this is their latest body, if it's just not quite as refined as the others. So it looks fabulous, it is so beautiful, but she is actually quite challenging to pose, and I am, I guess, a little bit disappointed by that. I kind of feel like I have to get her into a pose and she stays there, otherwise she may fall over. And with a doll like this, if she falls over and breaks, you've just lost, you know, a couple of $100 of her value. So, you know, that is important. The other reason why Modsdoll are only number 3, so even though she's, you know, so beautiful to me, is because they're really hard to get. So Yan Li has taken a break from doll making, may or may not come back. You know, that is still to be seen. But right now, it's really, really hard to get hold of Modsdoll. You have to buy them secondhand, you know, eBay or through doll groups, and they are quite, you know, the price has gone up, not down, because of that, because of the scarceness. Okay, now because she is quite hard to stand, I'm just going to sit her here while I go to my number 2s. My second got a couple of them in here. Who shall I grab? Oh, here's my favourite. My second in my top 5 fashion BJDs is Kingdom Doll. This one is Helen. And she, look, I've got 3 of them. She is my favourite. She has her original wig, but she's wearing a tonneau dress. And yeah, a lot of these dolls are not necessarily wearing their original clothes, which highlights the fact that even though they are BJDs, they are quite flexible because they are built to the same proportions, or roughly the same proportions, as a 16-inch fashion doll. I love the Kingdom Doll faces. They are really striking. Again, you can always recognize a Kingdom Doll when you see one. They have these high cheekbones. They have a really distinctive style. They also all come with, you know, a beautiful wig and a very handmade outfit. They have beautiful painting. Their body shape, they are really known for a real beauty in the body shape. You know, very, very stylish dolls. They are, that said, I guess there is such a big demand for Kingdom Doll. They have really taken on this chic within the fashion BJD world, that makes them particularly hard to get. Even though when they come out, they're released, I think, usually about 50 per release, which sounds like hardly any, but many of these other dolls are only released in 20 or even 10 each time. But the Kingdom Doll are actually still the hardest to get, you know. They will sell out within a minute or 2 of when they're released. And then, of course, their value on the secondary market really goes up. So that can be, I guess, just that feeling when you're in the doll groups, you know, about, you know, I guess putting them on a pedestal makes it a bit challenging to get them. But they are incredibly beautiful. They really, you know, like I said, you can recognize a Kingdom Doll by looking at one. You're not going to mistake them with any other BJD out there. And so I'll pop her up there beside another Kingdom Doll in my collection. So Kingdom Doll is number 2. Number 1, again, this might be a controversial choice because I'm actually going for the company that is, I guess, almost the most commercial of them. And that is a small reason as to why they're number 1 for me. But number 1 is actually the Jamie Chou dolls. And I've got a few of them here. I've got the most Jamie Chou of any others. One of my favourite sculpts is Ginny. I've got 2 of her. So this is a Jamie Chou Ginny. She's not wearing her original gown, but it is from a different Jamie Chou Ginny release. And look how spectacular it is. I mean, it is just over the top and luxurious beading jewelry. Face super beautiful and, you know, and well painted. They come in a range of skin tones as well. Ginny has like a tan skin tone, whereas some of the others are paler or darker. I have, you know, very pale one here, a darker skinned one here, and so on. So the Jamie Chou dolls, and this one is wearing a tonneau outfit. This is another Ginny, and I just love the wig that she is in. And I love this one, this girl's face and the way it is painted. I find them just incredibly beautiful. The other thing that I love about the Jamie Chou dolls is how well they pose. The first time I handled one, it actually took me a little while to genuinely believe that she was made of resin and that she had the elastic jointing, because she was posing so solidly and in such an easy and straightforward way that, you know, I'm used to the challenge of posing a resin doll, a resin BJD, but I just didn't feel that with the Jamie Chou, and I love that about it. And they are, I think they're quite beautiful double jointed elbows because they are hidden double joints. So when her arm is straight, it looks like she has a single joint, but then you can give her the full flexibility of a double joint. So again, I really like that about her. It's just very, very sophisticated, very stylish. And there are, you know, a whole variety of Jamie Chou bodies. That's the Glam body. This is the earlier, more traditional one. There's also a Jean Marshall body because Jamie Sho has owned the Jean Marshall dolls. And another thing that Jamie Sho has become really popular for is their 12-inch resin fashion dolls, so fashion BJDs, but in the size of, you know, Barbie and Poppy Parker. They're called Muses. I guess personally, I feel like when you're paying, you know, that much money, I want the extra scale, but a lot of people just really love the Muses as well. And I guess that is another reason why I put Jamie Sho number one, because they have that variety. They're much easier to get hold of than many of them as well. Partly because they are, I guess, a little bit more commercial, a little bit less, you know, small scale and artist made, and partly because there are more releases, so you can get them secondhand a little bit more easily, which I guess both a good and a bad thing. But you know, if you're looking at getting into fashion BJDs, it's a great place to start. You can jump on their website and it's pretty easy to get one. The only thing I would say is that as Jamie Sho have got more popular, their prices have gone up. And so now they are mostly selling their dolls nude and bald. And although they are, you know, a little bit cheaper than a full set was, they are still quite dear, and their outfits, even the more basic ones, you know, you're expecting to add on a wig and an outfit, then you are getting up to, you know, quite a lot of money for a doll. So you might want to look at some of the older ones because they were, you know, a little bit less expensive when they came out. So like this doll here, I picked up for quite a reasonable price on eBay, and she came with a wig and a fairly basic outfit. So I hope, you know, you feel inspired to maybe have a look at some more fashion BJDs and see what's out there. There are really some amazing dolls. So let me know whether you agree with my top five or whether there's somebody I missed who you think deserves a look in as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.